Now, one person we did hear from today for the first time, Karen Reed herself, doubling down, of course, saying she did not do this. She wants to know who did.
Said it feels we're the only ones fighting for the truth of what happened to John O'Keefe. And me and my family and my attorneys and my team have marshaled every resource to get to the truth. It just feels like no one else wants it.
Karen, just to be clear, you didn't do it.
We know who did it, Steve. We know. And we know who spearheaded this cover-up. You all know.
Yes, we do.
And no, she didn't do it. No, she didn't do it. This is an innocent woman. She didn't do it.
I tried to save his life.
Yeah.
I tried to save his life at 6 in the morning. I was covered in the only one trying to save his life.
Why'd you admit to it?
She didn't admit to it. She didn't admit to anything close to that. Nothing close to that. And you should know that.
That was like 3 or 4 times she admitted to it.
No, she didn't.
That's not true.
She asked a question. She asked a question, which is very different. She didn't admit to anything.
You are listening to the Roberta Glass True Crime Report, putting the true back in true crime. From New York City, Roberta Glass is now on the record.
All right, here we go. Back into the land of the living. Thank you to everyone who left lovely messages of support when I was out sick. I'm back, and I'm here to tell you all about Karen Reed's new motion and her new target. That's what I surmise from this new filing. Shall we go through it together? Hey, Tricks Are for Kids. Hey, Jill D. Nice to see you, Taterbug. So let me get to the motion. This is called it's on Innocence Fraud Watch's blog. Defendant Karen Reed's motion to recover expert-related expenses from the Commonwealth and affidavit of defense expert Matthew Erickson. We've never heard of this Matthew Erickson from Arizona before. Actually, you know what? Before I go through this, I'm actually just changing my mind. Have patience with me. Let's look at WCVB, their report on it. They want $12,000 and change for his expenses. This expert went all the way to Massachusetts to look at the data, car data, and came back empty-handed. Let's take a listen.
Karen Reed's attorneys want the state to foot a $12,000 bill for a defense expert.
Reed is accused of murdering her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, nearly 2 years ago. The defense continues to question the integrity of footage provided by the Canton Police Department and hired an...
Right, they're still going on about this Sallyport footage. The reverse Sallyport, I wouldn't call it reverse, I call it mirrored Sallyport video footage.
An expert to travel from Phoenix to examine the police department's surveillance system, but that was a wasted trip after finding that all the original video data cannot be recovered. Reed's defense argues that the prosecution should pay the fee because the state failed to preserve that evidence.
Right. But who is this? Are they going to reimburse Karen Reed's donors for this? Are they going to reimburse Karen Reed's lawyers for this? Who's getting reimbursed? The hundreds of thousands they've raised, maybe more, for Karen Reed's defense? Are those people getting reimbursed? Who's getting reimbursed? That's my question on it. But that'll give you just a glimpse. I'm not going to read all of it. It's very very wordy, very heavy. But I just want to go over some of the salient points made in this filing. It's really, in my eye, an exercise for the Free Karen readers, to rile up the Free Karen readers that there's something nefarious going on, that there's some kind of willful destruction of evidence that might have benefited Karen Read, and the state wants to get rid of it. They want to get rid of the evidence, guys, of maybe the police had something to do with messing with the evidence. And they say something patently false in this, which is that this is the only evidence of the state of Karen Read's taillight. And I'll get to that in a minute. So why it is not the only piece of evidence of the state of Karen Read's taillight that morning. People who watched the trial will remember, I think. I certainly did. So defendant Karen Read's motion to recover expert-related expenses from the Commonwealth. Now comes defendant Karen Read and respectfully moves this honorable court to order that the travel costs and related expenses associated with defense expert Matthew Erickson's December 2024 trip. Like, he just made it, guys. Matthew Erickson, this forensics expert, just made this trip, and they want the do-re-mi for his snacks and anything else. So if you're an expert witness, anything, the minute you leave your house, you're on the clock. And anything that you buy, snacks at the airport, Wi-Fi at the airport, etc., all can be billed to your client. Nice work if you can get it. Because as anybody who's had a job can tell you, nobody's paying for my snacks on this or my subway tokens, etc., to go to work. Subway tokens. I don't think I've even touched a subway token, but subway fare. I think that was even before my time. Associated with defense expert Matthew Erickson's December 2024 trip to Massachusetts be paid for by the Commonwealth. Those costs, which include travel expenses, lodging, and other accommodations and expert fees associated with the trip to the Canton Police Department, were incurred after the Commonwealth agreed to allow Mr. Erickson to visit the Canton Police Department so that he could perform an independent analysis of the CPD Extract Vision DVR system and any video footage it contained from January 29, 2022 between 12 a.m. and 11:59 p.m. So why didn't Mr. Erickson get in writing that they made sure that they had this stuff before he traveled from Arizona to Massachusetts? Why didn't he get in writing that they absolutely had this stuff for him to look at? Why did he have to show up and find out that they didn't have this stuff? What kind of accommodations and promises were made to him before this? It sounds like they're wanting the Commonwealth to pay for their own foolishness. When Mr. Erickson arrived at the Canton Police Department, all original DVR footage from the relevant dates had been destroyed. It's not that they just didn't have it, or that the stuff just, I don't know, gets erased after a while, or they hold it for so long, and then at best, due to improper preservation by the Commonwealth, because the Commonwealth failed to preserve the original video evidence, Mr. Erickson's trip to Massachusetts was futile. The costs associated with his travel to the Canton Police Department would not have been incurred but for the Commonwealth's representations that the evidence existed and that Mr. Erickson would be able to obtain an original copy of the video surveillance. Who told them it existed And why didn't he get it in writing? Accordingly, in the interest of justice, this court should order that the Commonwealth, not Ms. Reed, pay the cost of having your expert travel out of state to obtain a copy of the video surveillance footage within the Canton Police Department an agent of the Commonwealth failed to adequately preserve. Notably, when Mr. Erickson arrived, this is the footnote, at the CPD to extract video from the DVR system, the security camera system was set to overwrite older video surveillance footage with new video surveillance footage after approximately 30 days. So did they destroy it? Or is it just set to be overwritten, over-recorded after 30 days? Notably, however, each of the 3 instances in which the Commonwealth produced a CPD footage to the defense was far outside the 30-day period. Okay, so this is all about the footage. The Sallyport front wall footage provided by the Commonwealth omitted a 42-minute interval during which the SUV arrived at the Sallyport garage. The missing footage could have been shown to show the condition of the SUV's right taillight upon arrival at the Sallyport, and to date would be the only footage that serves this purpose. That is untrue, and I'm going to circle back to that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to just get right to it. So it's not the only footage, because those of you who watched the trial should know that there was the wellness check for Kaylee, John O'Keefe's niece, that morning, and there was Karen Reed's taillight in all its glory. Hey, Jill D says, did everyone hear that Nathan Reed got fired? Saw it tonight. I saw that. I don't know that he's been working there for a while. I don't know if he got fired or if he quit, but he's no longer working at that Lexus. Is he working at his friend Adam Goldstein's Lexus? We'll talk about that in a few. Somebody seems to be providing Lexuses to the Reeds. Good question, Jill D. Is it from Nathan Reed, or do they just have an affinity for that car and they're getting it somewhere else? But Adam Goldstein, Nathan Reed's, he described himself as Nathan Reed's best friend, or Karen Reed as his best friend's sister. So hence best friends with Nathan Reed. Is he providing the Lexuses? But does anybody remember this wellness check?
That'd be the interior of Sallyport door 3, which is where the 682 would have been parked.
And then from there is where you drove from that position to One Meadows, correct?
Correct.
Ms. Gilman, if you could just run for about a minute.
Well, we get a long shot of the, let me move forward in this to the, so here's their drive. We even get their drive.
The door that you went to, is that the door, or did you go to a different door? If you know.
I don't remember which door.
So this is John O'Keefe's home they're going to check on Kaylee, his niece.
Went to.
Now, with respect Judy's home, had you ever been there before?
No.
Subsequent to this, did you come to learn
And this is Lieutenant Ray testifying. So this is the lieutenant who did the wellness check on Kaylee that morning. My question is, and this is a question that's been bothering me, so you have Jen McCabe and Carrie Roberts there, and they both decide to go back to John O'Keefe's house just to see if he's there. And that's the time that Karen Reed failed to take off her shoes. Everyone else took off their shoes because that was the rule. But Karen Reed knew that John O'Keefe, in my opinion, that John O'Keefe was dead, and those rules didn't apply anymore. And Karen Reed kept on her shoes. But while they're checking the home, why didn't Jen McCabe or Carrie Roberts decide to stay with Kaylee during this extremely scary time? Why did they all just abandon her and leave her to this wellness check? I find it very odd. Does anyone else find that odd that they all decide to go together to look for John O'Keefe, that one of them couldn't stay with Kaylee? Especially Jen McCabe, who had a lot of interaction with Kaylee and knew her pretty well.
also that the residents of One Meadows Ave had cameras of its own?
Yes.
Have you seen camera footage from both the driveway and the front door from the residents from that morning when you were there?
Yes.
Now, as far as a well-being check, if you could just sort of physically describe to the jury, what is it that you're doing with regard to a well-being check when you come to a house like this?
We're going to check to see if there's anybody there, which is typically the case. And we're going to go knock on doors and see if there's any activity of anybody at the home.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could hit play. If you could pause it there, Ms. Gilman. Now, so it appears when as you pull into the drive.
Boom, there's the condition of her taillight. Right taillight. Everybody see it on the right-hand side of the screen? So John O'Keefe's car, taillight goes all the way to, wraps around the car. Karen Reed's left taillight. Taillight goes, wraps around the car. There's a big chunk missing on the right side of her taillight, right there. There's the condition of her taillight that morning. Not a mystery. And is the condition of her car when it hit the Sally part. Very similar.
Driveway at One Meadows Ave, is that correct?
Yes.
And there's a
And there was also no time to plant the taillight. The CERT team had already arrived while they were taking the car to the Sally port. So there's no access and time to plant the evidence. And I don't know why free Karen readers find it so amazing that they'd find more taillight pieces when there's less snow, and not why they didn't find all the pieces in the middle of a nor'easter. Shocking that they found more taillight pieces later.
vehicle directly in front of you, correct?
Correct.
And at the time, you were not aware of the particulars of the incident that occurred earlier in the morning, correct?
Correct.
And fair to say, from what's depicted up on the screen, was that essentially what the driveway looked like at that time when you came in there at approximately 8:23 in the morning, correct?
Yes.
And as far as when you went to knock on the door, are you just knocking on the front door and then no one answers and that's it? Or you look around the house? What is it that you do on a well-being check?
You would go to the front door or the door that you think everyone would use in a whatever the situation was. you take a cursory glance around to see if there's any reason to check anywhere else. In this case, it's a fenced backyard, so I'm not going to be going back there. Because if in this case, we weren't looking for someone that might be a dead body, we were looking for 2 children that would be up and active.
Now, as far as that vehicle that's parked.
Well, we know that Patrick was over at a sleepover, so he wasn't home. It was just Kaylee. Why leave Kaylee all alone at such a scary time? You don't know that he's dead, but Karen's saying things like, he's dead. I could have hit him. Those kind of things. Check out my taillight. Something bad happened. Karen's hysterical, acting with the big quotations on the acting. She's putting on her big performance.
Driveway in front of you. Did you have any reason to look at it, inspect it, or anything like that at this point that you're at the house?
No.
And as far as any condition of it, specifically the right rear passenger side, you didn't have any occasion to go inspecting that or?
No, they didn't know what they had till later. They didn't know the importance. This was just a regular call for them. So there's her taillight in full view. There it is. For anyone who wants to know the condition of Karen Reed's taillight that morning. And that was at 8:22 a.m. He arrived at One Meadows, Lieutenant Ray. Just to give you an idea of what happened. Hey, Miss Dark Humor. You really triggered the free Karen readers with your with your turtle Ninja Turtle outfit. They went crazy over that. You should wear that every time. That should be your signature, I say. So let me go back, just breeze through this filing a little bit more. So additional Sallyport video down mid-trial on April 23rd via a shared link entitled Additional Sallyport Video Download Link. The Commonwealth produced additional footage from the Sallyport wall. At trial, Trooper Yuri Ironman Buchanan testified on direct examination that the footage of Ms. Reed's vehicle from this interior Sallyport camera was an exact depiction of the Sallyport and the SUV, and that, as seen in the video, no law enforcement officer approached the right rear taillight. On cross-examination, however, it became apparent that the video surveillance footage displayed on direct examination was a mirror image of reality, despite neither the Commonwealth nor Trooper Buchanan having mentioned it on direct examination. Therefore, when the video appeared to show a person standing near the left taillight of the vehicle, in actuality, the person was in fact standing near the right rear taillight, doing nothing. Doing nothing. Trial transcript included. So I assume they're going to say that this is a violation, some kind of Brady violation. The Commonwealth had an obligation to preserve the original DVR surveillance footage from January 29, 2022. Here we go. For the loss of the original surveillance footage, Ms. Reed is entitled, at minimum, to recovery of expert-related expenses. The Commonwealth is culpable for the loss of the original DVR footage. The Commonwealth is culpable for their same thing. The original DVR footage was material. The loss of the original DVR footage prejudiced Ms. Reed. The fact that the DVR footage is now permanently unavailable hinders Ms. Reed's ability to demonstrate the differences between the original footage and the footage provided to the defense and shown at trial, differences suggesting the footage was tampered with or otherwise altered, and deprives her of critical evidence about how these differences came to be. The loss of the DVR footage in combination with the Commonwealth's misrepresentation further prejudices Ms. Reed by burdening her with a significant and unnecessary financial expense. The appropriate remedy for the loss of this evidence is at minimum recovery of these expert-related expenses from the Commonwealth. So they want some money. And here's the affidavit of defense expert Matthew Erickson in support of the motion. I, Matthew Erickson, do hereby depose and state the following is true to the best of my knowledge and beliefs. I am a computer IT and mobile device forensic analyst at USA Forensic LLC. I was retained as an expert witness by defendant Karen Reed. On December 11th, I traveled from Phoenix. I stayed in a hotel for one night and returned to Phoenix by plane December 12th. The purpose of my trip was to allow me to extract evidence. Okay, you get the point. So there you go. Interesting to see how Judge Cannoni will rule, but a key part of that motion is they talk about, in this new motion, they talk about Brian Higgins. Is this in this motion or another motion? They talk about Brian Higgins and video of him at 1:32 a.m. and or at 1 in the morning that time, and he said he couldn't remember when he left 34 Fairview, if it was between 12:30 or 1:30. So all the Free Karen readers are going crazy with this new motion saying, hey, and that's who her new target's going to be. It looks like because the defense can't get over the massive hurdle of never having John O'Keefe getting in the house. There's no evidence that he ever went into 34 Fairview. No witnesses saw him. His phone shows that he never moved from where he was thrown, in my opinion, by being clipped by Karen Reed's vehicle, that they're going to have some trouble. So I think they're going to say that, look, Brian Higgins left around the time that John O'Keefe was hit, when it seems like he left closer to 1. I think it's like 1:14 in the new filing. So I think that's going to be I think they're going to change up. I think they're going to drop some of this conspiracy beating up in the house. And I think Brian Higgins is going to be the new target and the new person to blame. First, it was a plow. Then it was anyone from the McAlbert, pick your favorite cast of characters who went into 34 Fairview. And now it is honed in on Brian Higgins. And I think we're going to see the same kind of relentless cross-examination that we saw at the first trial with the witnesses. I'm going to take a quick break. When I get back, we're going to talk about Free Karen Reed, her clothes, Nathan Reed, all his more money grabs, and the standout, his interview he gave at the standout. All when I come back. I'll be back in 1 minute. Don't go anywhere.
We're not taking a break. of wine. Roberta will be back in no time. This podcast is listener supported, so smash that like button and subscribe, or become a patron for exclusive content if you are so inclined. Have something to say? Shoot Roberta a super chat. She will do her best to read it on air without delay. Now Roberta's back and ready to put the true back in true crime. Here's Roberta.
All right. So Nathan Reed, we've been talking a lot about Nathan Reed, gave an interview while they were doing a standout, meaning sort of an outdoor protest for Free Karen Reed. It's such a joke, Free Karen Reed. She's walking around, but here's I thought we'd go over it together. Oh, wait. My apologies. Hold on one moment. Here we go.
3 trials in a couple months. How are you and your family feeling right now?
Very strong. You know, this turnout, both here in Rhode Island.
So it looks like how many people actually turned out? Does anyone know? It looks like it's like the Reed family and a few others. There's like 3 people behind them.
Island and throughout New England, to be honest. Today we've got 29 standouts across the country, as well as one in Mexico. This really gives us
29 standouts attended by how many people? So that's the question. So I was raised by activist parents, and one of the tricks that they always tell you to do, I was raised protesting everything, basically. Always being dragged to a protest. They'd have you bring a sign to make it look bigger. That was one of the tricks. Hey, Tammie. Roberta, welcome back. Happy we hear you. Oh, nice to see you. Tammie, Pat's to Gizmo. Tammie's got like the most amazing cat. Gizmo, really cute. Heisenberg says her brother only brushing off the left taillight. That's what I was going to show you in a second. And not the passenger side on the camera is suspicious. That alone will give her problems. Yeah, I was going to show that. I know I pulled it up the wrong video. I had that for a little later, Heisenberg, but I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you again. And with Caitlin, many of you remarked on Caitlin, Karen Reed's sister-in-law, Nathan Reed's wife, saying she should definitely be called to testify because there she is staring at it, mesmerized by the Karen Reed's right busted, smashed to smithereens taillight. Love to know what she knows.
It's incredible hope. When you know the facts and then you see strangers who have come out and supported my sister week in, week out, and now for the first time here in Warwick, it's incredibly uplifting. Yeah.
No, obviously these standouts are going to continue to happen in the coming weeks.
Yeah, so we started these standouts in the Dedham area back in summer.
So the woman to our right is Kelly, that's Karen Reed's cousin. Look at her hair for this standout. I never curled my hair for any protest like that. Did my hair up for a standout ever like that. She's doing it like a fashion show. Hey, Allison. I'm glad I'm feeling better too. Hope To have Allison on very soon to talk about her mother's case, cold case. Check out her channel, My Father's Alibi. Thanks so much, Allison.
Number 23.
Yes, and they've been going strong every single Sunday since. They're out there from 10 to 12 at Legacy Place every Sunday. Rain, snow, sleet, heat, it doesn't matter. They're out there holding signs. We even...
Yeah, we're not out there with them because we're way too busy and important for that. But they're out there in this rain, sleet, or snow. We only do this once a year. But the little people are out there every year.
Flags and supporting Karen. And they come to trial.
Every week. And they come to trial, too. Yeah, they're people, you know, the Free Karen Read is a mixed lot. A lot of them are people who have gotten involved in our justice system, meaning they're criminals and hate the police. So they get involved with Free Karen Read for that reason, because it's basically the through line is that the government and the police are corrupt and untrustworthy. And some people are just people who have been duped, good people who have been duped by the innocence fraud campaign. And then there are just disordered individuals who attach themselves to a high profile campaign because they want to see a psychopath get over on the system. There's all sorts in the Free Karen Read lot.
Every time there's a hearing or during trial, they're all there for that also. So it's been wonderful.
Now, obviously, there's been some developments in the case as, you know, these hearings continue. Dr. Marie Russell being able to testify. How does that make you feel? Is that a relief to your family? How are you guys feeling about that?
You know, I think from our lens, it's par for the course. You know, these are witnesses.
It's par for the course. It's the worst ruling I've ever seen. Firstly, there was a violation where they didn't hand over any evidence about Marie Russell in the first trial. She does not qualify in any way meet the standards of an expert. She's unqualified, and she shouldn't be allowed to testify. It was a terrible ruling by Judge Cannoni to let her testify. But you can see they're like, it's par for the course, but they're not showing their hand. To me, this looks like there may not even, I don't know if they're going to even go with the dog stuff, second trial.
Experts who are highly qualified and without getting into any legal.
Well, as long as you say they're highly qualified, they're qualified, right, Nathan Reed?
Jargon or anything like that, because that's not my place as Karen's brother. But I would tell you that these are experts who have been approved by the court leading into trial one, through trial one, and we don't see any reason why they shouldn't be there for trial two.
Obviously, Trooper Proctor, his hearing started the other day. It's continuing.
Extended to February 10th, yeah.
How are you feeling about that?
No comment. The facts will come out as long as they're shown.
And then as far as these standouts, you said they're going to keep happening. You know, what do you expect going into the second trial? A lot of people were there every single day. What do you expect in the second trial?
I think we're expecting and hoping for the same, if not greater. You know, the fact that this is going now a second time, trial two, is mind.
This innocence fraud is so huge. I mean, I just woke up to the news that Biden let out Leonard Peltier. Just commuted his sentence, not discommuted it to just let that guy out. Who killed 2 police officers, FBI officers, excuse me. And I believe was wanted for battery of a police officer before that. Just let him out. I mean, this innocence fraud is done by lawyers, promoted by our press. Oh, speaking of Amanda Knox, Italy's higher court, I don't know if it's the highest court, but just cemented her slander conviction, which was a minor miracle because they changed the law, making it more defendant friendly and throwing out a lot of her evidence of lying and falsely accusing her boss, Patrick Lumumba, of the crime that I believe she did together with Rudy Goudet and Raffaele Sollecito. So That was some good news. But our press is just selling these things like left and right. And no one's calling out these lawyers. They're all getting rich on it, and the criminals are getting rich on it. And meanwhile, our justice system needs to be majorly overhauled because this fraud is taking over. And already there's another case. I'm going to get to that maybe tomorrow. There's another case of a man in Massachusetts who killed his wife with the same officers involved. And they want to create, which is basically called in innocence fraud terms, a pattern and practice of fraud with Proctor and I believe, is it Tully or Buchanan? One more officer, because those officers were involved in his case. So don't hold me on. I just know Proctor is one of them. So because Proctor has some mean texts, now he's seen as a corrupt officer who can't be trusted in handling any evidence in any case. It's outrageous. And what's going to happen, I hate to be have a negative outlook on this, but if this innocence fraud isn't stopped in its tracks, it's going to eventually it's just bring down our justice system so that it becomes becomes a kangaroo court, exactly like what the wrongful conviction movement at all has been accusing it of being all along. But it will be made by those fraudsters themselves. It's outrageous. So the fraudsters are basically making it, saying it's a kangaroo court while they're making it a kangaroo court. And this has been like a fraud we've never seen before, this pre-trial innocence fraud campaign that seeped into court. That was the plan. The first plan was to get it basically, get it dropped before she ever went to court. When that didn't work, they just poisoned the jury pool. Done. And I think picking the jury in this trial is going to be the most important phase of the trial. More important than any ruling on any witness.
Boggling to us, and so for us, I think we're looking at it going, if we have to do this, let's get as much support as we possibly can, and it starts grassroots wise, just like this, and we've seen it week after week in Massachusetts, and I think here from a Rhode Island standpoint, we're hoping it continues.
The Commonwealth said they had found Chloe and gotten imprints of her teeth.
Yeah.
What do you think that means for the case?
No clue. I haven't seen anything, and I don't know that anything regarding location or imprints or anything has been shown.
I mean, as far as some of these other motions trying to prevent some of the experts that testified in the first trial, the crash reconstruction experts, some of the data on the phone, going into these next couple of weeks, how important are these, these motions? How important are these updates to the case?
Well, I think they're incredibly important. I mean, there are expert witnesses.
They're highly important to rile up our base and show our base. Hold on one second, guys. I just had to lift. Never before has this happened in an episode. My cat is like had to lift her up. Bed's a little too high for her. She's a senior cat. Never before have we seen a trial like this, and it's really important. These motions are really important to rile up the base and let them know who the new real killer, wink wink, is. And the fact that they switch from person to person to person should be red flag number one for any rational person, that they go from Colin Albert to Brian Albert to Jen McCabe to Brian Higgins to the McAlberts, all of them together, and Chloe the dog. Should be red flag number one, that no one in the Free Karen Read movement can tell you how this happened from beginning to end in a coherent story, using all of the evidence, the totality of the evidence. That should be red flag number 2.
Highly qualified. We need them for our case, and I think there's no reason they shouldn't be approved. And so, we'll bring them in as requested, and they'll prove their worth, as they already have.
And then, you said that you work on some of the social media as far as the trial. Will you be there at the second trial? Were you there at the first trial? How are you
I was
feeling?
there at the first trial for as much as we could be because they limited how many people could go into the courtroom.
Okay, so is this really what the standout is? 3 people? 3 people and Nathan Reed and Kelly? One car beeps and they're like 3 people are like, woohoo, with signs. Is this what Free Karen Reed has dwindled down to?
So we went into the courtroom when we could, and then others of us set up for lunches and did different things to help out as much as we could, and I will be supporting Karen until this is over.
I don't know, you were in the courtroom almost every single day for the first trial. Or do you expect to be there again? Does your family expect to be there again?
Absolutely, every day. Every day. I work locally here, so this standout today in Rhode Island means a ton to me. I've worked in Rhode Island for the last 7-8 years, literally 2 miles up the road. And
okay, he works in Rhode Island, 2 miles up the road. How does he get all this time off of work to attend trial? If you're attending trial every day, they would just let you go to trial? What kind of job is this? Is that the Lexus dealership that his friend Adam Goldstein has? Is that where he's
for us,
working?
Karen and I grew up literally 20 miles from here, right? And we've had plenty of aunts and uncles and cousins that were from the Warwick area. So this is a home away from home. In regards to being at trial, absolutely. I'll be there as much as I can around my career. But
And
absolutely.
we're still waiting for the SJC to come back with a decision, so we don't really know what that means as far as the trial is concerned. So,
Do you think there's a chance that the murder charge will be dropped?
I certainly hope so.
Well, we haven't heard back from the Supreme Court yet. They're slower than molasses making any kind of ruling. But if the second-degree charges get dropped, that will be terrible for justice, and it will be a terrible precedence. Hey, Patty's Playhouse, nice to see you.
But, it's in the hands of the SJC right now, and we're awaiting a response, and hopefully that comes sooner than later. And but the hope is there, yeah.
And there's some new attorneys, both for your sister as well as the Commonwealth side. How are you feeling about that so far, with the new prosecutor? How are you feeling seeing him in these first couple of hearings?
No comment.
we love our new attorneys.
Yes.
Bob Alessi has been wonderful. And then Weinstein for Karen's SJC.
Yeah.
They've all been fantastic.
Leslie is a freaking innocence fraudster. He's doing this pro bono, so they love him. He's doing it for free. And Weinstein, I don't know. I mean, I thought his arguments in front of the Supreme Court of Massachusetts were fair.
They're great to our family. They're great with Karen. I mean, they're very knowledgeable, and we really appreciate.
Who cares how they are with your family? How are they in court? Proving Karen's innocence should be your number one concern. Well, it's like the story, like, how is he kissed me? Like, I don't care how he is to you. So narcissistic. They're great with us. They're great with our family. How are they in court? And supposedly proving your sister and cousin's innocence. Shouldn't that be the key part?
Appreciate them.
Yeah, I mean, we've had an incredible defense team from the get-go, starting with David Yannetti, adding in Alan Jackson from California, Liza Little, and then obviously Bob Alessi here on the criminal trial. So we're bringing back all of the members we've had because they've been so phenomenal for Karen and to the family. And then we're adding, Bob Alessi, and we'll be ready.
And how are your parents doing? I know they're from Denton. How are they, doing?
It's just like O.J. Simpson. They got a dream team going, guys. They got a dream team.
Yeah, thanks for asking. They're incredibly strong. Karen is as well. We're a very tight family. So Kelly's my cousin, and we've got a very small knit group of family members that are basically together weekly.
Psychopaths. The father. I just think Karen's so much like her father. And should they go on the stand, they will lie for her. I don't know about her sister-in-law, Caitlin, but I'm predicting that her father will lie on the stand for her. And her brother, I don't think will do well on the stand. I think he will be easily riled up, and he seems to be high on his own supply here.
But Karen's doing superb and so strong, and my parents are right there with us.
Her biggest support, for sure.
No doubt. Yeah, they're back.
Along with this guy, he's the unsung hero of the family.
My parents have done an incredible job, and we'll be there. We'll be there until the very end.
Is there anything else that you want to add?
So if you missed my last episode, I was talking about his larceny charges for stealing money, grand larceny. And he pled out, and he had to pay $250,000 in restitution for that. So he already has experience in getting away with things. So of course he's the unsung hero. And he seems, what I mean by high on his own supply, so he's been doing a lot of interviews. And he seems very high on his sense of self-importance. I would be embarrassed if this were for my family member and we had a crowd this small, standing in front of a tiny crowd of 3 people talking about my sister on trial for murder.
What do you think's important about the upcoming case? Any of the motions being heard?
No, I think the only thing I'd like to add is just a huge thank you to anybody who...
To anybody who's been supporting my cop-killing sister. We're all really pleased out there. Anybody who can just open their wallets, they're our favorite kind of people. And just note that Karen Reed says she's $5 million in debt, and he's going to get to that.
Who's stood out here, whether it be here in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Florida, there's 4 or 5, Australia, Tanzania has done them, Mexico today. So anybody who's
some in South Africa.
Yeah, it's just, when you think about it, we're just a small family that, from the Taunton Dighton area, to see this.
We've bamboozled the entire world. Karen Reed and her lawyers have bamboozled the entire world, guys.
Outpouring of love and outreach is mind-boggling.
And it's the people that come to the standouts as well as the YouTubers who have given enormously of their time and effort.
You can see that they talk a lot about John O'Keefe and his family. Their concern is just dripping off of them.
To cover the case and to have us on to promote standouts and fundraisers that we're having for Karen, because fundraising is her biggest asset right now.
Truly is. I mean, it takes... Karen's been in the most recent holiday issue of Vanity Fair magazine, in which, she mentioned, the overall cost so far, ticking towards $5 million. We're not a wealthy family. And so the outpouring of love and financial outpouring that's gone to the Karen Reed Defense Fund, that's crested over $600,000 since we started it, is pretty.
Right. And are those people going to get their money back? If the court gives them they're going to get their money back? Their $12,000 back that you won from the court to pay? $12,227. Are those donations going to be given back?
Amazing, and we need it to continue, truly, to continue this fight against corruption.
Where is the money going? Where is the money going? Is it a non-for-profit? Free Karen Reed? Where is the allocation of funds? Does anybody see the allocation of funds? If it is a non-for-profit Free Karen Reed, then they should be releasing how much they're taking in and where it's going. And does Nathan Reed get a payment for being the hero in this? Is he on the free Karen Reed payroll? Because we'll get to his jacket in a minute.
We need that.
It is, and it's wonderful that everybody gave so much during the first trial, thinking it was going to end last July, and now we're asking them to continue the standouts, continue the fundraising for trial number 2, and remarkably, they've all stood by her, so we can't thank everybody enough for that.
And is this one of the first, I don't know if I think you might have mentioned this, but in Rhode Island, one of the first organized standouts, or do you know? Or
Yeah, we did a standout on Labor Day. We did a round of standouts, I think about 40, 45 across the country on Labor Day. Of course, the weather was a little different. And there was one in Providence. It was a tough location. It was on an overpass just over near the Providence Place Mall. Tough for parking. This is obviously a bigger group and a great location.
Right, because people didn't come just because they couldn't park. It was tough for parking. Sorry, I'm not going to go to the standout. Parking's bad. Never did I ever hear that from my parents. Seasoned protesters, especially my mother. We can't go because the parking's not good there. You can't park. There's nowhere to park. So we're not going to go demonstrate our deeply held beliefs in Karen's innocence. I mean, it looks like seriously 5 or 6 people. I mean, is this even newsworthy? But I guess we're watching it, so that's the end of it. But a couple people brought up on Twitter. Hold on, let me share my screen so I can show you guys. So this is Kelly Reed during the trial. Hold on. Watch her throw a huge wad of cash into Karen Reed's purse. Check this out.
Hi, this is Michael covering the Karen Reed case.
Did you see that? So you have to be looking kind of beyond right here. So there she is with the black coat. Karen Reed is to the right side of our screen. There she is dropping a wad of cash. Did everybody see that? Into Karen Reed's purse. Looks like. What looks like a wad of cash. I'll just say that. What looks like a wad of cash.
Our case just wrapped. The Karen Reed case.
One more time. Okay. Sorry for all those listening on podcast. Check it out. Hey, Jude, nice to see you. Roberta, glad you're okay. Magnesium is good for the lungs. Thank you. I used to take magnesium, but then the doctor I was getting it from stopped making it. Coffee and dark chocolate. Chocolate right in the magnesium. Oh, that's interesting. Is that good in the magnesium or not good? Hey, Jude. So do I make a coffee with dark chocolate and put magnesium in it? Or do I not use dark chocolate in coffee? Stay away from coffee? Or yes? Let me know. Let me know if you're still out there. Hey, Jude. So it just looks like that they're going to attack Brian Higgins, but before they do, they're going to cry poor and say that Karen Reed has no money. It's all wait, hold on. So let me just go to my bookmarks again. Hold on. Boop-a-doop. Okay. So here's what the tweet I wanted. Karen Reed didn't try to fix her teeth when she had job and had a job and insurance to help her pay for it, but instead she does it with the free Karen Reed money. Love that for you, free Karen Reed. So here she is with what they say shows Invisalign on her teeth. Oh, and along with everything she lies about, even in her police, even in her profile pictures. So they're saying that's not even Karen Reed, that picture up there. And they also point out her glasses. Invisalign again, they're talking about. She's supposed to be $5 million in debt. And again, similar things with Nathan's jacket. That his jacket cost a whole bunch. I think they were saying $600, his jacket, Nathan Reed. So these are things that you tend not to be wearing when you have, when you're $5 million in debt and are desperately saving every penny as a family. So I wanted to get into your comments before I go. Something I skipped it last time.
We got you coming. You had something to say. You were insightful. Oh, so clever. So Roberta's going to read your comments. Hey, Roberta, read those comments.
Okay, let us read these comments. It's always so encouraging when I hear that. Hey, Roberta, read those comments. I will read the comments. Thank you. So encouraging. Rosewater says the sleeve thing has nothing to do with her mom. Alan Jackson buys off the rack suits and has them tailored. So Rosewater is saying that Karen Reed saying that her mom always notices the length of her sleeves, and that's why she tailors her suits. It's because Rosewater says that she's following Alan Jackson. Rhonda Jones says, I am sickened about these donations. What, $600,000 in donations? Amanda Knox made $3 million off of her book. What's the problem? People are dying of cancer and they are donating to a person who can stay in hotels while she's on trial. But Rhonda, her sanctuary had been violated. She couldn't stay there. Words fail me somehow. Someone died here, John O'Keefe. It's so awful. It really is so awful. You just have to laugh or you're going to cry. Jill 199 says, yes, Twitter is going crazy with Brian Higgins and butt dials. It is desperate. It seems as to me that they're already crafting another defense with Brian Higgins pulled out as John O'Keefe was walking in, because Brian Higgins certainly left a pretty vague timeline after Karen Reed dropped him off. And here Brian Higgins comes, the car that looks like his. I think they're going to have a lot of trouble with the car data. Same thing. But if they switch their defense, I will not be surprised. Maybe we'll see another thing where they'll just try to throw everybody under the bus, a little bit of everybody. A pastiche of all the crazy defense imaginings that came out of Karen Reed and her lawyers' heads. So I just wanted to get into Caitlin one more time, something that came up in the comments. So there's Nathan Reed. Wiping off the back window. Leaves the right taillight, but make sure that he wipes off the left. So here comes Caitlin. Yep, there's that left taillight being wiped off while the right one untouched. So does anybody know why they decided to leave Kaylee alone? It's really something I've been thinking about a lot. It just seems like when you have two people, and Carrie could have driven, why she needed two witnesses there. Heisenberg says, what kind of conversation took place in his car before they arrived at John's house? Great question. Heisenberg, his actions on camera that morning make it look more suspicious. They sure do. And I don't think that he will deal well with being challenged. I think he will get defiant and defensive, and it's not a good look up on the stand. I don't think he will be a good witness. Now, William Reed, Karen Reed's father, on the other hand, is one cool customer. And I think that he'll do well. So that's what I have for you for today. Just a little... Wait, actually, do I have some more stuff? Oh, yeah. Here's some stuff I have before I go. Quickly. This is Innocence Fraud Watch's blog. Did some research on Killer Karen Reed. I love how she calls her Killer Karen Reed. Brother Nathan Reed and his best friend Adam Goldstein and that broken taillight. On April 23rd, 2024, Adam Goldstein made the following false statement. Now he owns this Lexus dealership or works at this Lexus dealership. Facebook friends need your help. I've seen the news lately. My best friend's sister, Karen Reed, is being framed. She's being framed for murder by the state. Anything you can do to help is greatly appreciated. In response to Adam Goldstein's statement, Nathan and Karen Reed's cousin, Kelly Reed, made the following statement. You could decide to buy some popcorn because money is always the best option. Open your wallets. When you hear about someone being framed, just open your wallets. Buy some of our popcorn from said best friend's cousin's pop-up store. You'll get delicious, fresh popcorn delivered directly to your door, and Karen Reed gets 50% of all sales. Win-win. Maybe Adam Goldstein or Kelly Reed will know why Nathan Reed did not clean the snow off of his sisters. Karen Reed's broken right rear taillight on January 29, 2022, and maybe Adam Goldsmith or Kelly Reed could also explain why her best friend Nathan Reed and his wife Caitlin acted so suspiciously on that morning as per ring footage video. So that'll give you a little bit. And here he is at the Lexus of Warwick. But what job is letting you, take these amazingly long periods of time off? That I don't get. Do you guys? How could you possibly work and attend trial? Unless you're working nights, which, I don't know what dealership is open up, all night. I don't get it. And you want to look at Matt Erickson's LinkedIn. Hold on. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I have a LinkedIn. Yeah, I don't have a LinkedIn page. But he's on LinkedIn as an expert. He looks like a youngin' with like a mustache. I'm sure someone will post his picture all up over. But he wants his $12,000 paid for by the Commonwealth. And they're hinting at Brian Higgins having some kind of perjury on the stand. That's the latest in the Karen Read case. I will be back tomorrow. I know I usually don't do Fridays, but I think I will this Friday. See you tomorrow at 6 p.m., my usual time, 6 p.m. Eastern. Thanks so much for listening. I'm going to go out same way I usually do with my hit single. I hit my boyfriend with my car. Have a great night, everybody.
I hit my boyfriend with my car. It wasn't an accident, but with lying lawyers I'll go far. Lying lawyers and witness harassment, I'll avoid prison. It was snowing. I pushed the pedal down, hit him hard. Now the legal system a clown. Innocence fraud campaign to save my skin. Making money, truth is my second victim. Carry, Jen, like John, you were my mom. My innocence fraud campaign is my biggest hit yet. I hit my boyfriend with my car. It wasn't an accident, but with lying lawyers I'll go far. Lying lawyers and witness harassment, I'll avoid prison. It was snowing. I pushed the pedal down, hit him hard. Now the legal system a clown. Innocence fraud campaign to save my skin. Making money, truth is my second victim. Carry, Jen, like John, you were my mark. My innocence fraud campaign is my biggest hit yet. John.